Hey everyone, welcome back to the garden. So if you remember, a few weeks ago I did a video called Plant Talk, plants that I would not plant again. And I focused on, I don't know, 5 or 6 different plants. So I wanted to follow up on that video with plants that I would plant again, because there are definitely more plants than not that I would plant again. And I think I'm going to break this up into categories. I'm not going to do perennials like I did last time. So I think we'll focus on natives, non-natives, and hydrangeas, because we have planted a lot of hydrangeas, not just in the past, I don't know, it's been 2.5, 3 years since we've been doing YouTube, but even before then, and there are some real standouts. So let's take a look and see what I would plant again. So one of the first hydrangeas I would plant again is Little Quickfire, and I think you can see why. Now, I don't think they're called Little Quickfire because of their fall color that looks like fire. I think it's because they bloom so early in the spring. And they are a lace cap. I love, absolutely love all things lace cap, including hydrangeas. But they really provide 3, well, I guess you could say 4 seasons of interest. I do not cut the flower heads off in the fall. I let them stay for the winter. And they do provide these dry flower heads as winter interest. But you can see the fall color too. I mean, just really, really fiery. Now, I do believe that that's because we cooled off in August, because we did not get this color last year, but we did get it in 2023, which was a fairly normal year for us. Let's go take a look at the other 2 as well. So here is the other one at the other end of our Rose of Sharon hedge. And you can see it's just as pretty in copper and red, burgundy and orange. Lots of beautiful dried flower heads to take us through to the winter. Now, I think it also might have something to do with the fact that these get a little less sun at this time of the year, because if we walk further down the side, what I call our Thea Thin Man bed here, you'll see another Little Quickfire right here. And while it does have some fall color, it's not nearly as fiery as the others that get more shade. Like, you can still see a lot of green in there, and you can see that the sun is still touching it. So here are the 2 Little Quickfire in front of our, or at either end of our Rose of Sharon hedge. And this is in, I think it's early to mid-July, so you can just see how pretty the lace cap flowers are in white. And in a second, we'll take a look at the other one. Just a really beautiful hydrangea, in my opinion, that really, really does perform for us. We've also planted Firelight Tidbit, which is also a panicle hydrangea, but it does not have lace cap flowers. It has the typical mop heads of the panicle. And although they serve the purpose where I planted them, I just don't find that they are as outstanding in their fall color. So that's why I am categorizing the Little Quickfire as my favorite of the panicles. And that also goes for the Quickfire, because we do have 2 Quickfire hydrangea standards that were planted in 2018. Now, those are much bigger than the Little Quickfire, but when I turn around, you'll see the beautiful fall foliage. And you can see that. Now, these are much bigger, like I said, 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, but same lace cap flowers, same beautiful foliage, same spring blooming. And I believe these are the same stats. I'll give you the stats on both of these. Their stems are really, really sturdy. We do give them a good cut back in the spring. If I can get back in here, you should be able to see. Some of the previous year's cuts. But Quickfire hydrangea is one of my go-tos for panicle hydrangeas, whether it's the little Quickfire form, the tree form, or the shrub form, because they are absolutely stunning plants. See up there, Little Quickfire, or Quickfire hydrangea standards. This is a Quickfire hydrangea in just shrub form. And again, beautiful fall foliage. It's new though, very new. We just planted it this summer, so it's got some growing to do. It still has beautiful seed heads, beautiful fall color. Really excited to see this one get to its full height and width up here. Another favorite hydrangea of mine are the Endless Summer Twist and Shout. We have 3 of them here, and while they're starting to go yellow and the flowers themselves, a lot of them have turned burgundy and losing a little bit of leaves, so they do look thinner than they would look in the summer. And I'll show you all a picture of all of these things in the summer. Obviously, you're going to want to see what they look like when they're in full glory. These are still putting on new flower buds and new blooms. So this is the color, because this is very acidic soil here. Most of our other non-color specific hydrangeas are pink, because these are under the canopy of a really big Norway spruce. These are blue, and I absolutely love it because they are so vivid. That is what they look like when they first start blooming. And then they turn to this purple burgundy in the fall. So pretty. And you can see there's a new flower bud. So these have a really, really long season, and that's why they're called Endless Summer. Now, there are all kinds of Endless Summer hydrangeas. I have an Endless Summer Pop Star, which I guess you can say is a smaller version of this, and I absolutely love that too. But that's only been in the ground less than a year. So these have been here since probably 2019, so I have much more experience with these. We haven't had to do anything additional. We really don't water them. It's very dry, as you can imagine, under this Norway spruce. And every year they perform just fine. Now, this is a bigger Endless Summer. These are 3 to 5 feet tall and wide, but for me, I would say they're probably 5 by 5. And I have to include at least one native hydrangea, and it would be the 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. And you can see them now. They are in full fall foliage. This one has lost all of its leaves, but the seed heads are absolutely gorgeous all through the winter. This is a hydrangea arborescens. Again, it's called 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. I do not believe these are available any longer. You might get lucky and find one. So this is a type of Annabelle hydrangea with really, really sturdy stems. They never flop. They are, I think these are a larger one. These are about 5 feet tall, probably almost as wide. And again, this is a native hydrangea, hydrangea arborescens. And we've planted a lot of native hydrangeas on our property. These were the first ones, again, I feel like 2019. And they've moved around a little bit, but they have not missed a beat. We've also planted Annabelles, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 blush, and Invincible Wee White. But so far, these are my top performers. I have one more hydrangea that I want to share with you, and it is outside of our arbor, and it's called Tough Stuff 𝗂𝗂. Ooh, really bad light there. So we have that planted in almost full shade in the front of our house. And again, we really don't have to do much to it. It does stay kind of moist up front here, but even in a drought, it can be dry up there, and these hydrangeas have done absolutely perfectly for us. So here is one of them. This one always stays a little bit smaller because it is in one of our most challenging beds under a Norway maple. And even though we have irrigation in here, the ground is really, really dry, hard as a rock. We do have to provide additional moisture for this one, but it still puts on its beautiful lace cap flowers, and it stays small. I would say this is like a 2 by 2. And we have a couple more over there. Let's go take a look at those without seeing my house's electrical box. And while we're on our way to look at those, these sun patients are still going strong. I absolutely love it. So here's another of the Tough Stuff 𝗂𝗂. The lace caps on these are immense. There's my hand. I'm guessing that's probably about 7 inches across. Now, they are pink for us. They can be blue if your soil is acidic. I would have thought our soil up here would be acidic, but these are always, well, like purple to pink. but they are absolutely gorgeous. And you can see how much fuller these ones are because they get more moisture over here. And here's another look at another one, which, believe it or not, that has a new flower bud on it, partially blooming. This one has just really exploded this year. Really surprised about that. What are these? Tough Stuff 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 hydrangeas are either budding up or starting to bloom. Got to check on the small one back there behind the hostas. This one gets a tiny bit more sun, so it has more buds on it. No blooms yet, though. And I know I wasn't going to talk about perennials, but let's just talk about one grass. I guess you can consider that a perennial. This is lemon squeeze panicle. It is just so upright, and it's a chartreuse colored grass, and I chose it because it looks so good in the summer when it's blooming with the lime ricky. And you can see the seed heads. They're plentiful, they're fluffy. Now I will say this does spread a little bit. It's about a 4x4, so these are not yet fully grown. There are, I believe there's 4 here. This is the latest one, so that one's not gotten as big yet. But they're really just a beautiful mounding, sturdy stemmed, upright, kind of, at least their seed heads are, panicle. It's a little bit of a different color because it is chartreuse. That's why it's called lemon squeeze. And it does a lot for weed suppression too, but it can spread again. So one for the native category would have to be this Hypericum or St. John's wort. This is called 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 𝗦𝘂𝗯𝘂𝗮. And I think you can see why it's one of my favorites. It develops these gorgeous red, orange, corally colored berries in the fall. It actually starts developing them quite early because you can see the ones that developed months ago. They're kind of dry. They look like juniper berries actually, but you know, here we are in early November and it's still getting on new growth and new berries. It's about 3.5 feet tall to 3.5 feet wide. So here's the St. John's wort in late June, and I just love the way this plant has both this delicate little flower and the berries at the same time. I absolutely love that. So this is a Viburnum. This is a double file Viburnum, and you can see in early November it is still blooming. This is called Steady Eddie, so it is a improved version of the summer snowflake, and I would definitely plant this again if I had more room. I'll show you what it looked like when we planted it. This is what it looked like in the summer. Improved version of the summer snowflake as far as blooms. It's just a much more prolific reblooming lace cap Viburnum. It will bloom most in full sun, but it can take a little bit of shade. Again, it's a 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. I don't remember if I said that. And this one is hardy in zones 5 through 8. So I think for native plants that are top performers, we have to pick Fathergilla. And I think you can see why, at least at this time of the year. Their fall foliage is just absolutely gorgeous. We have several different kinds of Fathergilla planted on the property. And let's take a look at what they look like in the spring and summer as well. The Fathergilla over here on the side of our dry creek bed are all bloomed. So pretty. So here's the Fathergilla in June right here. Sorry I don't get in closer on this one. I don't really seem to focus on the Fathergilla in the summer because it's the spring and the fall that they really shine. But it just has some beautiful blue-green alder-like foliage. Here's another type of the Fathergilla. This is the blue shadow Fathergilla. This one's going to be much bigger than the 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, but again, you can see just the gorgeous fall foliage. Now, you've seen this recently in my fall tour, but it's gotten even redder, so I just thought I would show you it again. This one is it's a slow grower, but I would say about 6 by 6 when it's fully grown, as opposed to the 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which are more 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. But again, gets the pretty bottle brush flowers in the spring This one has beautiful blue foliage in the summer, and I'll show you what that looks like. And another native that we're using here as a partial screen, a deciduous screen, is the Viburnum dentatum. Now this is different from the Steady Eddie because this is much more upright. This is a native Viburnum. This is just a straight native. This will be about 6 to 8 feet tall, 5 to 6 feet wide. It is very upright growing, so if you need something for privacy and you don't mind that it's deciduous, you can go with the Viburnum. They really need very little maintenance. I haven't had to prune them or anything. They get beautiful white flowers in the spring, blue berries in the late summer that the birds feast on. We have 3 of them here, but this is the most colorful for some reason. This one is mostly kind of orange burgundy. This one is kind of red burgundy. And then the one farther in here, which has lost a lot of its leaves, it's actually the tallest, but it's just a combination of colors. You can see the backs of the leaves almost looks like they're still green. And here's the other blue shadow Fathergilla in there. This is the Fountains of Rouge Itea, and I just wanted to show you for reference. Although it is really pretty, it's just not nearly as fiery red as the Little Henry. Here are the Little Henry Iteas. There's 5 of them here, and I think you can see why I chose these over the Fountains of Rouge. Now, the Fountains of Rouge have only been in the ground for less than a year, so, you know, I need to take that into account, but the color on the Little Henry is just stellar for this time of the year, for interest in the fall. And you can see all of the bottle brush flowers on there from this year. I mean, this one bloomed profusely. So a great native shrub if you're looking for something for 3 seasons of interest. So you can see the Little Henry Itea is blooming. It also has a nice fragrance. Gosh, it's a windy one today. My hair's all over the place. So this is not an exhaustive list. I mean, there are so many things we've planted on this property in the 10 years that we have been gardening here. Most in the last 2.5, 3 years, we've really been ramping up our gardening on this property, spreading out, adding all kinds of shrubs and perennials and trees. But these are the ones that I find to be the most stellar performers season after season with very little additional input. And by that I mean, you know, we've been in a drought the last 2 summers. Most of these plants have not needed additional moisture to keep going from us. Now, some of them, you know, after 4, 5, 6 weeks of no rain, they may need a little bit of a spritz. But for the most part, they just give and keep on giving. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite shrubs are that you would plant on your property all over again. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Bye.